केबल, उसका जो BCM का जो आपका प्रोजेक्ट है उसकी आज की परफॉर्मेंस क्या सेटिस्फैक्टरी परफॉर्मेंस है, उसमें मुझे काफ़ी प्रॉब्लम्स आ रहे हैं।
गैस जो भी मिल रही है इस वक्त हमें मिल रही है वो तकरीबन 1 माह हो गया है इसमें हमें मिल रही है 10 अक्टूबर और जिसका मतलब ये है कि बंद होने की बारी आने वाली है। और उसके बाद they cannot run all the plants on the network at the same time, तो वो बारी बारी काम करते हैं, बारी बारी जहाँ तक BCM प्लांट का ताल्लुक है, BCM प्लांट we have been able to get 1 unit now to consistently operate at close to capacity for several months. We had 1 unit which went down and that has now come on stream right now. So we have now had versus last year जहाँ में BCM consistently produce करने के प्रॉब्लम हुआ, अब हमने consistently over several months now BCM produce की है, but we have not been able to consistently produce at full capacity of both reactors on a consistent basis. So इस वक्त आजकल हो रही है, but that's the next step. Full capacity की for BCM production over 7 months. So it's significantly better than where it was last year, but it is still not at a stage where we would like it.
This is Mohammad Faizan from Pakistan Kuwait Investment Company. International scenario, you see, whenever there's a price breakdown, the management comes under a lot of stress. But unfortunately, the local companies and the local management seems to be somewhat immune whenever there's a stock price breakdown. What's the situation at AIM with regards to this?
I think what is a little bit like what kind of reaction?
Whenever there is a stock price breakdown, internationally, the management comes under a lot of stress.
Right.
But that certainly, unfortunately, is not the case in the domestic scenario. What's the scenario, particularly in AIM, with regards to the stock prices?
Depends on the period of time over which you're looking at. Right? If you look at it over a long period of time, just do that exercise on a regular basis, so I can tell you on this last year we year-end पे किया था, so we had outperformed the total return in the index by 2 to 1. Means over a consistent 5-year period, our return was double that of the return of the index. So that is at the end of last year. In this year, in initial period, the Agro stock price outperformed the market by a huge amount. The market virtually flat and Agro was up 7%. Agro has lost what 20-25% then. So we have now come back to relative. So जो आप stock price की बात करें, that is generally done relative to the market. You can't look at stock prices in isolation.
And I'm sure if we consistently underperform the market, then there will be consequences for management in Agro as well.
We've gone from about 225 rupees to today close to 160 rupees, and that's been in a short span of time. Obviously, that's there are bonus effect in there as well.
So 27% of market flat थी, हमको 20-22% वापस गिर गई, market अभी भी flat है, probably slightly down, I don't know what it is. So even within this year, the performance versus the market is about the same. Dramatic difference नहीं, and over a 5-year span, I told you go outperform the market by 2 to 1.
Well, a question from the central rows first time. You, if you could please stand up.
Our capital market is not as strong as it was, let's say, 5 years ago. And there was a lot of concern regarding the equity line IPO but if you subscribe or subscribe, does people feel that better price allows you to adopt equity prices, like home building or some other methods of pricing value to itself? Or would you generate price from your own self?
It's a very good question, and I think it's worth having a discussion and listening to different points of view on that one. We'd be happy to hear your point of view also, because we have to do quite a few of these further transactions. So So based on the experience right now, the way the market is at this point in time, it will be interesting what would be the general opinion. Most experts, what do they advise? What's the best? I will be open to any advice.
Asad, we'll come back here. Asad.
Pricing power earlier.
Asad, if you could speak in the mic again.
It's great.
You mentioned pricing power earlier. My question is, given the difference between the international price and the local price, where do you see demand destruction? If you were to raise prices, at what levels would you start seeing demand destruction in the Pakistan market?
On urea, almost at no level, because the rate of return on nitrogen application, which is what urea is so high. Remember, the farmer economics has dramatically improved over the last few years. And as a result, the rate of return on urea, just to give you an idea, let's take wheat as the largest crop that Pakistan has. You would have probably no more than 2 bags of urea being applied to an acre of wheat farming. So a 500 rupee price is 1,000 rupees. The average yield is say about 30 months, and at 900 and some you're talking about 27,000, right? So the incremental change of just about like 5% would wipe out all the incremental costs. So on urea it's very, very price sensitive, but even if it is price sensitive, remember what is happening. When you're making these very sharp increases, you're making these sharp increases to adjust for the reduction of gas supply and therefore reduce production. The assumption that he had given me earlier was 40% off completely. So 5 months you're down, and then you've got 80% for the rest of the year. And based on that, you would have a loss of production of almost 2 million tons. When 2 million tons is lost by the industry, there is so much buffer that demand would have to greater by 33% before you run into an oversupply problem. So practically speaking, a non-issue, complete non-issue.
One of those things like David.
Yeah.
But we've seen that in the DAP market, you actually see
DAP is hugely price sensitive. You can see that. Look at DAP, look at how demand yo-yos in DAP. You will see years where demand is as high as 1.7 to 1.8 million tons, and you will see years where demand is as low as 1.1 million to 1.2 million tons. Look at urea, and look at the worst year that you have seen in the last 5, 7, 10 years, and you will see maybe a demand decline of 3%. Right? It's much less price sensitive.
Especially in the last 3 years with commodity prices having jumped. Go ahead.
So, I mean, you guys, were established an importer of DAP. How would you do viewing the DAP market this season or this year?
In what sense?
I mean, you imported the DAP.
Right.
What's your view on it?
We make money regardless of whether the price is going up or is going down. We just have to accurately forecast where it's headed. So that's as far as our own trading area is concerned. In terms of all you have to do is better than the market at forecasting how much of an increase or how much of a decrease is happening, and you'll make money because it's relative pricing. As far as our view of this year is concerned, with the DAP pricing being very high, you'll see demand destruction in DAP and you'll see a debit on demand.
Well, I think in the interest of time, we would have to start wrapping up right after this last question.
That's from Parkway Industry Company. I want to add on this that there was a news in the market that there was a release Parker and the Editech. You were before on the SGPL network. So there was a mechanism that 4 IPPs which are gas-based, the gas is diverted to your plants, and you will share the incremental cost of HST with those IPPs. So what's your take on this, and what's the current status on that?
There was an agreement which was put in place that was supposed to be until June 30th, but practically that never went into practice. So it kind of died without ever being implemented.
Thank you very much for your questions. Before we wrap up, just to sum up some of the points that were discussed today. Obviously, there are 2 key mechanisms or mitigants that are in place in case of major curtailments. One, of course, is the price increase, which Asad Saab explained, and the buffer in the price increase seems to be quite a bit, given the disparity between the local price and the import price. The second thing, of course, is the watertight agreement that Engro has on the Kardapur gas arrangement, and that obviously has not been invoked, the sovereign right. They've gone to the courts, but they've not really pushed hard on that level. In terms of debt coverage, I guess we were able to cover quite a few scenarios that it would have to go, they would, if they're shut off for nearly 40% of the time, and for the remaining time they get 80% of the gas, and they're not able to increase gas prices, fertilizer prices at all, which doesn't seem plausible, then they may have a problem. So I guess in a big puzzle, a lot of pieces have to go missing at the same time. So I guess the main purpose of today's presentation and this Q&A was to have a frank chat with a very wide range of investors. We see the former head of Engro Fertilizer over here. We've got like Rashid Saab, who's the CEO of JS Investments. We've got very senior brokers, senior individual investors, and the purpose was to explain what is happening in the company versus what the perceptions are, and how this seems to be more of a perception issue than a financial issue. Now, with regards to Engro's future financing strategy, what Ruhail Saab and Asad Saab have also clarified is that starting this year, especially with the new equity IPOs coming in, Engro's net debt is actually coming down. जो उसका मजमूई तौर पर कर्ज है कंपनी पर, वो कम होता जाएगा इस साल के बाद. And assuming if the gas situation improves, or if other businesses start doing better on cash, the debt coverage will significantly improve in the years to come. Obviously, another reason why we were very happy to co-host this event with Engro and provide our investors this opportunity to ask questions directly from the management is the track record of Engro. It's a company which has done a lot of firsts in the country, from being the first employee-led buyout to being a big success in various industries, being a leader in various industries, and having grown in a very short period of time. I always tell people that what I like about Engro, other than anything else without looking at financials, is when we as investment professionals work with a wide range of companies and visit them day in, day out, we find that the average IQ of an Engro employee/shareholder is probably far higher, and that's a testament to many generations of management and systems. Coming down to Engro Rupiah certificate, this is obviously an instrument that BMA has been closely associated with from the beginning. We're very proud to have been distributors for the previous issue. We sold nearly 500 million of Engro Rupiah certificate out of the first 400 billion that was raised, and our investors seem to be quite happy. The current structure for the current paper is the same as the last one. As you know, it's a superior paper in terms of its rating. It gives you a 14.5% return for 3 years. The payments are semi-annual, and the protection you have in terms of the security that is placed and the market capitalization that backs it is tremendous. And obviously, having heard the answers to some of the concerns that not just you but the rest of the market shares, I for one feel very good about this instrument itself, because as you know, even after having borrowed this money, Engro would still have paid down its debt by more than where it was in last year. I would like to thank all of you for being here and for being consistent partners with BMA. We are proud to serve you, all of our investors on different levels. I would also like to briefly share that in the last year, we've been given a lot of awards. The CFA Association recently named us the best corporate finance house in Pakistan. We've also been recognized by the Banker of, it's an award given by the Financial Times, as the second, we were given second prize for 2 years in a row for the best deals in all of Asia Pacific, not just Pakistan, and that's something we're very proud of. Besides that, our brokerage services have been applauded by Asia Money and the rest of the investor community. We're very proud to be associated with Engro. I would also like to briefly mention that Muazzam Malik, our group CEO, was unfortunately not able to make it today. And we apologize on his behalf. There had been an urgent and unavoidable matter which he had to attend to in London, and obviously he sends all of us his best wishes. So without further ado, I would like to thank Asad Saab and Will Saab for taking out the time being here. All of you, the real strength, all our investors, or the real strength behind BMA. Thank you very much for being here, being with us, and if you'd like to join us for IT, that would be great. Thank you.